Sensei, can we go back to Kanroji? This is just torture. It's such a cruel transition from the last chapter to this. Last time, it gave the fans a fun, light-hearted event. This time, it grant them a hard-hitting, heart-pounding event. I was hoping to turn back to the battle with Upper Moon 4 and leave the other as a long-lasting cliffhanger. I realized that I was avoiding the inevitable, and sadly it's all coming true. While the chapter was very solid with how it builds a credible hype for Upper Moon 1, it left me horrified and fear for the worst. The last page of the last chapter left me breathless. This chapter resumed that feeling. It makes it worse when Kokushibo can see the other world, much like Tanjiro earlier, and because of that reminder, the fans will instantly know how powerful he is. That's rather amazing, but scary as all hell. The way how Tokito describes him convinced me that we are dealing something unseen or unspeakable, which is crazy considering the recent Upper Moon 6 was like him. This speaks volume because the power gap is so huge. It's like the 6 didn't happen. That's bone chilling. Sadly, that applies the same for Tokito, as he is shaking beyond his control. It's a good thing he had a badass moment back in the last arc, a huge gap to maintain his credible hype. If it happened within here, he would have suffered a Chad syndrome. Allow me to explain. Chad is a character from Bleach who always have bad luck for some reason. Within an arc, he gets a power-up that gives him a time to shine. But soon after, he's used for hype buff for another character. It happened many times. With Tokito, his moment left a lasting impression in fans' memory, which garnered him more fans. He's well liked, so with this unexpected turn of event, fans will reap, cry, and suffer. I was taken back with Kokushibo, since he doesn't go ill intent to kill right away. Instead, he's rather intrigued with Tokito's heritage as much as I am. I'm intrigued to learn about the lineage from him as it can serve plenty of interesting details of the pillars and the foundation. Someone in the fandom called out that he's related to Tokito. They are technically right, but it's a bit complicated. His human name was Michikazu Tsukikuni, and his name has died out a long time ago. But the legacy transferred over, and so Tokito is his descendant. That's just cruel. Not only he's about to fight Upper Moon 1, who wields a sword like the pillar, but he's also part of his blood. It's far apart, sure, but it is in the ancestry tree. It's simply the past meets the future. No personal grudge required. There hasn't been any move, and already the sensation gives me serious chills. Once the action kicks off, however, anyone who wanted action will be begging to stop. The action is expected, but still intense and fearsome. Even if I were to predict the way how it's going to go down, reflecting back to Chad's syndrome, I'm still floored by the demonstration on the credibility of Upper Moon 1. This is no ordinary hype buff. This left me frozen. It becomes clear from the first move that Tokito has no chance in hell to defeat him. That's how fast it is to be convinced. It's not because what happened, but how it was presented. Tokito goes for an attack, and Kokushibo quickly dodges it. It sounds like the usual shonen hype, but not only his hype was maintained well to this point, but his response is more on learning rather than mocking or unimpressed. He's taken this time to learn about his descendant. In short, he's more into learning than fighting. That's harsh in his own right. We're not seeing a fight, we're seeing a performance. He even has the nerve to give Tokito a gratitude, mainly due to the heritage. He's reassured that his former name's blood carry on well to Tokito, for he has shown great developments in swordplay. It's a twisted way to show gratitude since it only pisses Tokito off further. It is one thing that he is fighting against a former pillar based on his appearance, is another that he's fighting against a bloodline. It brings shame to his name, and he will remove him at once. Amazing how he managed to make it personal within a chapter. Although now Tokito has the marking activated, it only resumed Kokushibo's amusement, examining and theorizing the technique. Even when he was covered in obscuring clouds from the mist breathing, he wasn't fazed nor feared for a sneak attack. It's worth noting that you never see him make a dodging motion or anything. It's like he's not dodging. Rather, Tokito missed aimlessly. It's bizarre and terrifying. Then it tops it with the first ever draw. The double page spread shook me. Kokushibo only attacked because he thought he was being rude to the code of a slayer. That's his reason, not because he saw him threatening, let alone equal match. That's ironically disrespectful. I was shook for two reasons. One is the moon breathing. The fact he wields this as a demon is jaw-dropping. It's also the introduction to moon breathing, and knowing the sun, we can safely assume it's powerful. The presentation is enough to convince me. The second, and more importantly, Tokito lost his left hand. If I can scream like a little girl, I would. This threw me off big time. This moment not only shows the glimpse of Upper Moon's one skill, but the fact is, this is a permanent damage. There's no science or anything to recover it. Damn, that pain look on his face is disheartening. I like how he didn't give in to fear though, showing you the fearless spirit. He even stops the bleeding and continued to fight. That's a true fighter. As good-spirited it felt to see him fighting, by this point, this is an inevitable defeat. Kokushibo reverses Tokito's sword and stabs him. I cringe badly at that scene. You may think what the purpose behind Kokushibo's examination on Tokito is. While it could have been simply due to his character, it turns out he was so impressed, he declares to honor him to become a demon. That is a nice twist since I was prepared for a funeral. But becoming a demon, that will be fate worse than death. Will it happen? I honestly don't know. And that's why this series is enticing as hell. This was an intense intro to the one and only Upper Moon 1, and clearly we can see why. Whether he's really happy to see his descendant to be this strong, or his old blood still shows great promises. It didn't devalue any less of him, showcasing the gap difference that Tokito has no chance in winning. It had me intrigued, cringe, and terrified. It's one of the better introduction to a clear, overpowered foe. The sensation always had me hooked with fear, and the ending certified it. I don't know where this is heading, but any moment now, if nothing changes, we will lose yet another pillar, and that is painful. And that will do it for the review. I hope you enjoyed this one. On a lighter note, who's ready for the second core of the anime? I cannot wait for the second core, because that's where the real fun begins. Sure, the first core was a lot of fun, but for newcomers who still isn't convinced about the series' greatness, well, they're in for a hell of a ride. What do you think of this chapter? Share your thoughts in the comment section. If you like this and want more of this, subscribe to my channel, and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.